Bethany Manktelow here. Welcome to our Millwall Fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy! Welcome to the 2024-25 series of Millwall's No One Likes Us Talking, our Millwall Fan show. I'm your host Bethany Manktelow, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Stan Godwin, Dave Hart and Ted Robinson.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Our transfers are completed for season 2024-25 unless we sign out of contract players. The last window brought Benicio Boeti, forward from Brighton and Hove Albion under 21s, Zach Lovelace, a forward from Rangers FC, Luke Cundle, a midfielder from Wolverhampton Wanderers, Camille Nagley, a midfielder from Sparta Rotterdam, AJ Matthews, a midfielder from Middlesbrough, Tristan Kramer, a defender from Brentford, and Aaron Connolly, a forward from Sunderland. After our return to live broadcasting at Maritime Radio last Saturday, it's nice to be back at our regular podcast slot. Good evening, Dave.
Evening, Bethany.
Our team spoke well about Saturday's game against QPR, but what was your take on Luke Cundle's debut?
It was a bit of a surprise, really, because I didn't expect any of our new signings to actually play on Saturday. So seeing Luke in the team was a bonus as far as I was concerned. And he seemed to fit in straight from the whistle. And what I appreciated, as we know, he scored a goal, but it was nice to see a midfielder coming in and backing up the attack, and he's to be following in on that ball that hit the crossbar and came back. It was great to see somebody actually following in on these shots on goal, and obviously we scored from it, and that was the winner. So I was very, very pleased about it.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Good evening, Stan.
Good evening, Bethany.
Are you impressed or not by the signings made during our recent window?
To say yes, clearly there was a lot of forward thinking into these moves. But no, I've been impressed. And also, what I'm also pleased about, because we had some of what I call the fifth column saying, well, when the transfer window comes up, you know, there was a line appeared in the Sun with sort of 6 words in it that Tanganga was going to go. And then straight away, the moment it's printed, he's on his way, he's gone and whatever. And that none of that comes to pass, right? But the only thing I would add, and I've said this before, also signalling a change of direction for this football club. It's not going to be like it was before. People need to get their heads around that. But club has shown ambition, no question of that. I hope it all pays off and we go from strength to strength.
100%. Good evening, Ted.
Good evening, Bethany.
Were you disappointed that we did not use the window extensively for recruitment and departures?
Well, funny, you're asking me that question. It takes you back to the Cardiff game. At the end of the game, walking out the ground, and there was a bloke screaming and hollering about, we need to get rid of all of them, all 11 of them, get rid of them. They're useless, like, you know. So I'm sure he was a bit disappointed because we only got 8 players coming. What did surprise me a little bit was I thought there'd be a couple of more players go than what did, because we're not used to having big squads at Millwall. And when I look at the fact that we've got a couple of players obviously coming back from injury, like Maku and Coburn, and hopefully within the next few weeks they'll be about the first team squad again, which means we've got quite a lot of players. That's good to me because, like Stan just said, it shows ambition. They're keeping the strength of the squad in there, which is a lot of the experienced players like your Savills and Coopers now and Tanganga, even though he's not that old. But and Joe Bryan, they're all still there. And what I've liked is they've addressed the problems that we've been having, which was up the other end of the pitch and scoring goals. Because I have a lot of people moaning about a defence, but when you lose a 1-0 game, it might be a defender that makes a mistake and whatever. Nobody talks about any chances you may have missed or you haven't created up the other end. So it puts a lot of pressure on your defence if you're not scoring up the other end of the pitch. That was our problem, I think, and I think they've addressed it well in this transfer window. They are a lot of them prospects, which means they might not necessarily come straight into the team and look good. We've had one already that has, which is Aaron Connolly, who looks like a very good player to me. I'm hoping the guy Negley, I'm hoping that he's going to be sort of ready to come in and show us what he can do, because we paid quite a bit of money for him. It might take him a bit of time to settle, but there's a lot of good young people around the squad now that hopefully will go on. And I'll throw a quick mention in as well, because it wasn't a transfer, but Bangura Williams has turned out to be an absolute little gem. He's come in when we was all disappointed at the loss of SA, but knew he had to go. This guy, the best compliment I can give him at this moment in his career is that he's come in, and I haven't even noticed we haven't got SA playing. He's playing just as well as SA did. If not, if you look at his stats, possibly a bit better in what he's created. So all in all, I think it's been an exciting transfer window, and I just hope and pray that the promise that we've signed delivers within time, whether that's this season or next. But I'm really excited about the prospects with the players that we brought in.
I would agree, absolutely. We will take a break there and hear about our sponsor, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned marque. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 81 3562. G&M Motors have been dear friends with the Julians family for over 4 decades now. From my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, Lions together.
I'm your host, Bethany Manktelow, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. Many thanks to our sponsor, G&M Motors. Why not check out the Hondas and see what else they have on site at Gravesend? Our first guest this evening is a Bristolian who started at AFC Minehead and eventually hung up his boots at Maidenhead United. He joined us in 1976 and impressed over 50 games before he left for the States. Eventually, he returned to the English League after a loan or two, joining that team from the London Borough of Greenwich, Charlton. He made 322 appearances in all competitions over 10 years with the Addicts. QPR followed before he headed to Maidenhead. Let's welcome a most admired goalkeeper. Hello, Nicky Johns.
Good evening.
All right, Nick.
Hey, Nicky.
Nicky, it's great to have you back on the show after a little while. So how did you come to play for Minehead and join us at the Den?
I was playing Sunday football in Bristol, and every Sunday they used to Mercedes. It's at the end of our pitch watching, and it turned out a few months later, a chap called Bob Boyd, who was the Minehead manager, come to sign me. They were, I think, second in on the league, the league below the conference league. And he took a chance on signing me as a 17, 18-year-old. I went into a very good team. I was only there 2 months, to be honest, from the first game I played to and the last game. And then we had a top of the table clash with Dartford on a New Year's Day on their ground. And look at it, it's a Theo Foley that heard about a couple of the Minehead players. I think it was Jimmy Jenkins and Peter Druce. And he went along to look at them. And he watched me warm up. No gloves, because we didn't wear gloves in those days. It was hammering down with a rain, a miserable day. He thought his angles aren't bad, and he took his son. I think it was Adrian in a watch me behind the goal. I had one of those rare days where everything went right for me. I think we won 2-0, and I saved a penalty. And then it's at the end of the game. Theo sent Billy Neal in to speak to the manager, and the manager come back in to say we've assaulted you, and that was the start of it. At the time, I was doing a engineering apprenticeship in Bristol. My dad was keen for me to finish it because the odds on making it as a pro was a very slim. I played for your Bristol boys in representative sides. I was the only one in the sides not on either the City books or the Rovers books. The other goalkeeper at the time was on a Spurs book. I was the only one this, and no one was interested in. Theo signed me for Millwall. Gordon Jago come down to my house and assured my mum and dad that he would look after me. All what they knew was that I was signing for Millwall. They didn't have a clue where Millwall was in a London. I'd never been to London, so it was the start of a big adventure for me. I did see the manager a few times, a few years after it's a Minehead, and he did say as soon as he signed me, he knew he was going to get some money for me. The side I played in was promoted that season. They were a very, very good side, and for him to play me must have been such a big gamble.
Hi, Nicky, it's Ted here.
Hello.
Listen, all of us on here, we all remember and loved the old Den as it was. It was our palace, it was our castle, it was home from home to us. But what was your impressions when you arrived at the Den? What did you think of the ground and the facilities and that beautiful surrounding area?
As you've asked the question, my wife's laughed.
I can imagine what she thought, but
my whole ambition was to play football, and it was a be-all and end-all of my life and my family's life. My two younger brothers both had chances to sign for the City and Rovers, and the middle lads played in a few games in the Football League for the Rovers. So we were a big footballing family. So for me to have a chance, I was always going. I can remember we drove up one day, Alison, who I went on to marry, and we drove down the old Kent Road, and both of us thought, where in the hell have we come to? Because we've come, both our houses had a field behind. You know, we played in the streets so different. We then go into the Den. I always say the best part of going into the Den before you went through the players' entrance, which was prison bars. There was a mud bank, a wall with a mud bank on it, and I'd always been brought up in football people of the famous Liverpool sign with welcome to Anfield. Millwall had a mud bank with a white cricket boundary sign, and it was welcome to the Den, and it was as good as it got there. But it was the most amazing place. Everyone you speak to, former players who played for Millwall, there was a bond between them because the place was the atmosphere was so great. The fans were absolutely brilliant. Visiting players have all got stories about it, and all of them are really, they've been scared stiff for their lives. It was the most intimidating a place that they've ever played, but absolutely great memories there. I've been to the new Den quite often. I take my grandkids down, But it's not a patch on the old den when the old den when they started singing "Come on, you lions" on a wet night, you could hear it just thunder in the middle. So yeah, absolutely brilliant place to play.
Nicky, Gordon Jago era ended during your time with us. Theo Foley took over for a time before George Pecci arrived. And what was Gordon like? And was he the man that took you to the stage?
Gordon was the most honest manager I'd ever met. Absolutely a lovely man. The one thing my career has ended now, and it's 49 years, I think, nearly since I signed for Millwall. I wonder what would have happened to my career if I'd have stayed at Millwall with Gordon and Theo, because they made such an impression on my career. Theo Foley worked so hard with me day in, day out. I could catch a ball. I was brave, but my kicking was atrocious. And Theo's told us in the past, when he signed me, he thought, get him a pair of gloves and improve his kicking, and we might have one there. Here, we won. I don't think, although the first year when I signed, they'd just been relegated, I think, to in the third division, and I signed in January, and from then on they went on a run, and they were promoted. I think they lost a couple of games, and then the following season I made my debut up at Colchester, and I was having a terrible time. I thought I was having a terrible time in the reserves. I'd come from a really good side, playing in the reserves, and the reserves is always hard because you've got senior lads who don't really want to be there, young in trying to mix in young lads. I didn't really know anyone. I wasn't the most of confidence of lads. I wasn't noisy. I was just, I'd just sit in a dressing room and say hello and goodbye. I just wanted to play. So there was a lot of pressure on me from myself to be doing well. But Gordon would write to my parents every couple of months, reassuring them that that they're working with me, that those things aren't going great for me at the moment. He really believes that I'll make it. And then I made my debut in the League Cup up at Colchester. I think we drew 4-4, which really, you think a young keeper coming in 4 each, and the end of his career. But Gordon was pleased with me. We played up at Rotherham 48 hours later. We beat them 2-1. I made a couple of really good saves, and then from then on, it began to take off. Ray Goddard, who was an excellent keeper at Millwall, he was having a few injury problems. Gordon played me in the League Cup quarter-finals up at Aston Villa, when really thinking about it, he could have been better. Although I didn't have a bad game and I'd done everything I had to, I wondered, should he have played the more experienced keeper? Pleased he never, because it was a hell of an experience for me. But the pair of them had absolutely, my career was really defined by the work they'd done with me. And we weren't far off a good side. That season, the first season I played, I think we finished in the top eight, and a couple of signings we could have pushed on. The biggest thing I felt was, in looking back now, we sold Ray Evans to Fulham, and he was an outstanding fullback, and he gave us so much attacking flair. How the modern fullbacks attack now, Ray Evans was doing back in the later 70s. The following season, Gordon had a great offer to go to Tampa Bay, and I can understand why he did, because Millwall were having a lot of problems with the hooligans and things like that, and he went out of there, and at the end of the season he come back in there, signed me, and to be honest, I got married one day. Me and my wife flew out the next. We'd never been on a plane before. We landed in Tampa, palm trees, sun out. And he said, "Oh, this is a life." Lots of players were going out there. And big stars were going there. And we got caught up in it all. I had reservations about a sign-in. It's in the last minute. I'd phoned George Peche in the afternoon, and he said, "I'm sorry, son, we spent the money." And in those days, we didn't have agents. To this day, I don't know why I didn't ring Theo Foley and speak to him about it. I think it was because Tampa said you're not to talk to anyone about it. We don't, And I was so young. I was 20 when I signed. I didn't have any experience of that. We didn't enjoy it. The day I signed, they were having a press conference with all the fans, all the cameras. And I said to Gordon, "I've changed my mind." And he said, "Look, sign for me. If you don't like it, I will sell you." And he was as good to his word. It's my only regret of my career that I always felt I let Gordon down. He won't see it like that, but I do feel I wish I done well for him, because he was such a great a manager for me.
Nicky, Stan here, mate. By the way, I've got a message for you. Your old mate Phil Coleman asked to be remembered by you and sends his regards. He also wondered if you remembered an incident at the Peak Freans training ground when you argued with the gates in your car. Or if it was somebody else. Do you remember this?
I had just got a car, and it was a Cortina, a Mark III, my pride and joy. And it was always hard. I was, newly qualified. It's driving in London so much different in Bristol. Even now, when I go back to Bristol, it's as though the whole world goes down 2 or 3 levels compared with London. I was still doing my apprenticeship, so I used to have to be up about in for work at 7:30 in the morning. I would then clock off about 9:30 to drive up to Peak Freans to get to train, and then I would, as soon as I finished, go back for the afternoon shift. So it was all a bit tiring. You're half asleep in all that. And I'm driving along, and I've had to turn in left, and I've taken it too tight, and I've hit the post, and I'm stuck there with the players are behind me, and I'm thinking, what in the bloody hell do I do? And I was so inexperienced. In the end, I've had to just drive through it, and my whole wing was creased. It was my nightmare, really, because from the day I walked into that dressing room and I opened my mouth, it was like I was calling the cows in. And what do you mean, yeah?
No, it's just with the accent, isn't it? Yeah, I can understand why they would, yeah.
Yeah, and my accent's mellowed now, so when I was 18, it was really strong. And people like Dave Donaldson, they absolutely mullered me, and it didn't help. The Woolsels, who went on to sing "I Got a Brand New Combine Harvester," they were in on the charts, which made it worse. I turned up in a pair of moccasins that in Bristol were high fashioned. They absolutely crucified me, and to it. Even now, I found a picture, a while ago, and even at pre-match meals, we'd had a picture taken at a pre-match meal. I was scared stiff to open my mouth because someone would take the mick out of me. They were into the London slang. I didn't have a clue what the rocking horse was, what a pony was. I was completely out of my depth. Now, they would say I was being bullied. But I would say it was great character building for me. It was, I had to be a part of it. I had to grow up because I was in a men's game. You know, that helped me. You know, they were fond of me. And it was their way of involving me in other things. But yeah, it's my accent is even now at times I listen to it on some, I think, oh my God, it hasn't improved.
Dave, Nicky, when you came to Millwall, Ray Goddard was the other keeper there. You exchanged the number 1 spot with him for a while. He had an excellent sustained experience at Leyton Orient before joining the Lions. What was your relationship with Ray, and how do you remember him?
Ray was a lovely, lovely man. He was a good goalkeeper. I think he was underrated. He played such a big part in Millwall going from the third to in the second. I was able to come in because he had a few injuries, and I took my chance. He used to help me in training. He used to talk to me like all goalkeepers do. Your goalkeepers knew, you know, they usually get on well with their opposite numbers. But obviously, I was a young lad, and he was imparting as much knowledge onto me as he could, because he was reaching 27, I think 28. Players used to only go on to a 30 then. So yeah, absolutely lovely lad.
Yeah. Mind you, it's Ted again. I've got to tell you, mate, I've waited a long time to say this to you in particular, because I heard you talking earlier about you wasn't sure whether they made the right decision in picking you for that Aston Villa Cup quarter-final, League Cup quarter-final. Let me tell you, mate, I thought on the night, you were very humble in what you said. You thought you'd done right. I thought you was outstanding. And I said it at the time that I thought you was a brilliant goalkeeper. I got it slightly wrong because I thought you'd go on and play for England, but that's how well I thought you played on the night, Nicky. I've always wanted to say that to you, mate. That's genuine, because I thought it was outstanding for a young keeper.
The problem is so long ago. I've just put together a book of my Millwall days for my grandkids, because I've got 6 grandchildren. 4 of them are boys who are playing football, and 2 of them, Leo and Ellis, want to be goalkeepers. So I've put a book together, and I've found lots of cut-ins from it. But it's just so hot. The night was. I was a young lad. It was like a day's playing, because you're concentrating and you just want to get off of there without making mistakes. From the paper reports I read, we were very unlucky not to have done something that evening. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Nicky, as a fan, I went into that ground, found out you was in goal, said to my mate, "Oh God, why are we playing a kid in goal?" By the end of the night, I was saying we got the best goalkeeper we've had since Brian King, and that's quite a compliment, mate. So you certainly made an impression on me. But I'm sure there were some Millwall players that made impressions on you, and one of my idol really, Barry Kitchener, was a great servant at Millwall, a one-club man. What was it like having him in your defence, Nicky?
You know, throughout my career, I've played with some good players. You know, lads who've been off to a World Cup. So I've been lucky. The best centre half I played with was Barry Kitchener. He was just a rock. The whole team just followed him. We used to get a change an hour before, a few minutes, 10-2. The Theo and Gordon's giving their last bits of their team talk. Kitch was always in the toilet having a fag. They'd shout out, someone shout out, "Did you hear that, Kitch?" Yeah. Then someone would say, "Ready to go, Kitch?" Yeah. The flush would go. He'd come out. Give us not a small talk. Come on, lads. Blah blah blah. We'd go out, and in those days, he'd have a couple of sprints, and then walk to the halfway line, toss a coin, and he played. There was no warm ups or anything. And when you think all the games he played, like with no warm ups, no stretches or anything. He was colossal. He was Millwall in my time.
Nicky, after you left us, your stint in the States wasn't too long. The Millwall fans missed you as Pat Cuff became our number 1. Did you try to get back to us, or was that a rumour, or was your destiny determined by other circumstances that led you to join Charlton, where you had many years and appearances as obviously the goalkeeper?
I didn't know anyone. I even now, I wouldn't phone up at someone to ask them to, sign me or that. I was just a young lad. Ted Buxton was a European scout, and he was trying to get me back to England. I went to Sheffield United. I played 2 games. One of them was like a League Cup game against Leeds United, the local derby. We got hammered, and I took on the brunt. The brunt for it was dropped. I couldn't get a game even in their reserves. I'd gone from the most promising young keeper in the country to the most expensive young keeper to be sold at that time, to not have been able to get a game. And Ted went around numerous clubs trying to get me back. I'd have thought he'd have gone back to Millwall. That would have been, now not knowing that, I'd have thought he'd have gone back. They obviously didn't want me because I was coming back on a loan. I went to Sheffield United on loan with a view that I could put myself into the shop window, so I could have done the same. It's Millwall. As it was, I went to Charlton, and although it was tough at the beginning, we avoided relegation the first season on the last game of the season. I was in and out. I seemed to pick up lots of injuries, and the second season we were relegated. The third season we went up from the third to the second, and then my career took off. I was player of the year then in the PFA Division 3 team, and I had from the start to finish I had 9.5 great years there, picking up personal trophies and 2 promotions. And like I am, it's a Millwall, whereas every time I went back to a Millwall, the supporters always give me such a great reception, and I always tended to have good games against them. Which is Charlton. I had 9.5 great years. That the fans were really respectful of me and honoured me with their Player of the Year award. So I cannot, both clubs have been absolutely brilliant. And the best thing is, we've been in, I was in Orpington, first of all, just down to the road now. I'm now, 40 odd years ago, we moved into Petswood. And we've loved London really since the day I've signed. It's an absolutely brilliant place.
Nicky, we know that you're appearing at the number ones evening on the last Thursday of February, along with Brian King, Brian Horn, and Andy Marshall, in support of our community trust. And we're really looking forward to that and can't wait to hear a bit more from you. However, what do you think of a former players association at Millwall? And would you see yourself participating as a member at further events and attending games at the Den?
I bring my boys, my grandkids back as often I can. To be honest, I don't tend to be very good in the first half of the season. It's a bit cold for me. But as the weather gets a bit better, from a February onwards, I take them quite regular. So there's 5 of them, and I love it because the atmosphere is absolutely brilliant. It's a Millwall. I've told people before, none of them's allowed to come until they can stand up on their chair at home with their arm in the air, scarf around their wrist, singing "No One Likes Us." And I've even got my granddaughter. She's 2. She sings it as well. She can't wait to come, but she's a bit small to take her to the Den. I support Millwall in the community scheme wherever I can. Sean does absolutely brilliant work for in the club. So really, it's an honour to come back and a pleasure. On a players' union, been going on for ages. It's clubs should have it. It is so important now. I've been to clubs. Everton have got a great players association, and what and they do when older players, lots of players are suffering from dementia and things like that later on in life, because the games is the pitches and the balls, the boots, everything was a lot different. Centre halves could be elbowed from the first minute by a centre forwards and vice versa. I term it. It was a proper men's game, but they need help, and it's Everton, the PFA help fund lots of things for players, but they generally if you need a knee replacement, they're paid for 50%. Everton Players Association will pay the others, because the players playing around my day and before and a few years after would not have earned the money this and the players do now. So it's vitally important. This clubs get players associations, and not only that. There's lots of players who don't know they can claim for monies for different things, for health related issues from the PFA, whereas a players association would have those contacts within the PFA.
Before you leave us, we have Ted's Prediction League. So Ted will ask you to predict 3 scores in the FA Cup. These results will be collated at the end of the season, and we will know who of our guests, hosts, panel and regular reporters have the best score predictors of the season. So I'll hand over to Ted.
Right, there you go, Nick. So no pressure on you, because the guests are doing reasonably well. But
I've had to look up tonight. I didn't even realise it was the FA Cup this weekend.
Yeah. Oh no, it's got his fault, actually. Well, the first game is the obvious one, because it has to go in. Obviously, it's Leeds against our beloved Lions. So it's Leeds versus Millwall. Nick, obviously Leeds flying in the Championship at the moment, but obviously we've hit a little bit of form lately as well. So how'd you see that one going, Nick?
I think Leeds will put out more of a reserve side, because their main aim is to be promoted. I hope Millwall will play a decent side. If they play a decent side, I think they'll get a result there and win 2-1.
Lovely. Let's hope that's right. Moving on, that second one I've picked is an interesting one to me, because Newcastle had just got themselves into the League Cup final the other night. Obviously they played, and they're away to a side flying in League One, Birmingham, the big side who shouldn't really be in League One. It's a proper FA Cup tie with a chance of an upset, I would say. But how do you see it going, Nicky? Birmingham versus Newcastle.
I think Newcastle's on a roll. I think they're Newcastle win 3-1.
Right, Newcastle, and the last one, which I think's possibly a bit closer, but could still be regarded as an upset, I suppose. It's Championship Blackburn at home to Premier League Wolves. How do you see that one going, Nicky?
I think Wolves will win 1-0.
1-0 to Wolves. Thank you very much. Let's hope you're right about the Millwall score, Nicky, if nothing else.
Thank you for joining us and for sharing your thoughts about Millwall and beyond. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Nicky. We look forward to talking to you again and hearing from you at Ari's Bar on the 27th of February from 7:30. So in the meantime, all the best to you and yours, and goodbye for now.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Cheers, Nicky.
Yeah, cheers, Nick.
Bye.
We will take a break there and hear about Fisher FC from Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul, a Millwall and Fisher FC supporter. There's always been strong links between our clubs, and as such, Fisher FC would like to remind Millwall season ticket holders and supporters club members that entry to watch Fisher is just a £5 if you show your card at the gate.
I'm your host, Bethany Manktelow, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Ted Robinson and Stan Godwin. If you can't go to the Leeds game and want a live match, the gates open at 1:30pm, as does the Fisher Club shop, selling all official club merchandise, and the Fisherman's Rest Clubhouse serves hot and cold drinks, snacks, and a selection of local beers and cider. Alfie's Food Wagon will serve hot food inside the ground, including burgers, hot dogs, chips, and the famous Sharpie Kick-off is at 3 p.m. as the Fish host Bearsted. Now let's hear from Ellis Barr.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Thank you as always, Ellis. Paul Loading brings us the Millwall Romans and Pride's update.
Hi, it's Paul Loading at the Millwall Romans with a quick update for the week. Both teams back in action last Sunday. Pride at home against Soho FC. Soho FC relegated from Division 1 last year. They're always a tough opponent. Pride started the game off quite well, going 2-1 up, but unfortunately, due to the attacks from Soho, ended up losing the game 5-2. Over to the Romans, who were away against East End Phoenix at West Ham Memorial Ground last Sunday. First game back of 2025. It's been a bit of a break for us after playing Stokey mid-December. Really, really good performance from the Romans. Everything seemed to slot in place with us. We passed the ball nicely around the back. Big pitch over there at West Ham. Bit nice 4G pitch, which suits our style of play. I think went really well for us. So we went in half-time 3-0, finishing score, ending up 11-1. Couple of mentions there to AJ Davis and also to James Baker for both scoring hat-tricks on the day. Big weekend this weekend for the Romans as we travel on Saturday morning to play Mersey Marauders in Liverpool in the semi-final of the GFSN Cup. Mersey, very, very good team. We haven't played them for a number of years, but they've certainly been creating waves in the GFSN League. Stories we're hearing about them, they are the team to beat this year. It's a bit annoying that we're facing them in the semi-final, but it will be a very, very good game. We're kicking off at 3:30 up there in Liverpool, and then we'll face the winners of, I think it's Leicester and Saltire in the final, if we manage to beat Mersey this weekend. And just a quick one, just to mention, Football versus Homophobia Month has started this month with events and things going on all throughout the month to highlight the Football versus Homophobia campaign. Millwall have dedicated next week's game, the West Bromwich Albion game, to Football versus Homophobia. A few of us will be heading down to the Den there to celebrate that as well. And obviously, hopefully a win for Millwall. But really important campaign to keep the visibility up. Other events happening. There's some interviews going out through a few of the players. Daniel Jenkins, big Millwall fan. He'll be popping up at the next few weeks just with an update for his year after his interview from last year, and a couple of other things within the Community Trust that we're doing. So I'll keep you all guys up to date with that. Predictions this week. Big game for Millwall on Saturday. Millwall Leeds. It's a shame that we're kicking off roughly the same time. That would have been a cracker to go and watch. I'm going to back Millwall. They're going to step up on this. It's not going to be an easy opponent, but I'm going to say 2-1 to Millwall on this. Birmingham Newcastle. I think Newcastle will probably take that 2-0. And Blackburn Wolves, I think, will probably go for draw 1-1.
An excellent result for the Romans, and we wish them all the best in the UK and Ireland GFSN Cup at Liverpool. Our commiserations go out to Pride. We also look forward to all of their activity through Anti-Homophobia Month. The Lionesses game was cancelled, and we will let you know who they face next at the show's end. However, congratulations to the Lionesses under-18s who made it to the London Cup final after a 7-0 win. We face Leeds United at Elland Road in the FA Cup on Saturday for a 12:15 kick-off. Leeds have been on an inspiring run in the Championship despite us defeating them at the Den earlier in the season. They are Championship table toppers, already having scored 62 goals this season and have won 4 and drawn 2 in their last 6 games. Following our recent run of results, the odds have drifted for a Leeds win and ours have shortened. However, the odds for a Millwall to win are 6-1, a draw is 3-1, and a win for Leeds is 2-5. These odds indicate that we have a big challenge to face in Yorkshire. Briefly, guys, is it an away win or something else? And please give us your score prediction. Ted?
I think it is going to be an away win, Bethany. You'll be surprised to hear from myself. I think Nicky read it right a little bit earlier in the show, and he said Leeds might be a little bit under strength, but at the end of the day, they're top of the table for a reason, probably because they've got one of the biggest squads, and the people coming in will be having a point to prove. But I generally think we're on a little bit of a run. I generally think we've got a little bit of a hold over Leeds. So I'm going for a 2-1 win to the Lions.
Dave?
3-2 to Millwall.
And Stan?
Okay, I'll go 1-0 Millwall.
And I will go 3-1 Millwall. Just going to go for it.
But you're going 3-1, Bethany. I like your confidence. Well done. The other two games I've picked this week, Bethany, are Birmingham versus Newcastle first. How do you see that one going?
Oh, I'm going to go Birmingham 0, Newcastle 2.
Where do you see that one, Dave?
2-1 to Birmingham.
2-1 to Birmingham. Oh, Stan, what do you reckon?
2-1?
2-1 to Newcastle. Right, there you go. Right, next one.
Oh, okay.
Bethany, you first. Blackburn versus Wolves.
I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw.
0-0 draw. Yeah, why not? Dave?
1-2 to Wolves.
1-2 to Wolves. And Stanley?
2-0.
But do we have any brief thoughts on our game away to Plymouth on Wednesday? Ted?
Found out today, I didn't realise, but Kramer and Connolly are cup tied for Saturday, so they'll definitely come back into the team on Wednesday night. The other little bit on our favour is that Plymouth play on a Sunday because they're at home to Liverpool on a Sunday. So, but I would imagine the team will go back to fairly close to the one that's been successful over the last couple of games. But Plymouth did have a win themselves, didn't they, in the last league game? But I'm hoping the strains that they put into the game against Liverpool will help us. And I'm quite confident that we can get a win there, Bethany. I really am.
And what about you, Dave? What do you think?
Yeah, I'll go along with Ted. I think that the addition to the squad that we've had have really boosted us up a bit. Our attack looks really sharp. I think we'll have a win in midweek.
And Stan?
I mean, I would tend to agree with Dave on there. I mean, I think we're playing well. I mean, we can always play better, but there's clearly been a huge uptake in our form and whatever, and the way the team have been playing. So they're on a bit of a roll. So I think we'll beat Plymouth.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't actually have much to add to everything you've all said. So yeah, I agree. We also have predictions from Nick Wythe from the Facebook Millwall Sicily site. So let's hear what Nick predicts.
Hi guys, this is Nick Wythe, and these are my cup predictions. Leeds 1, Millwall 1, Birmingham 1, Newcastle 2, and Blackburn 0, Wolves 1. Thank you.
Nick is delighted and is fixed on a return flight, a 5-star hotel and a Manzi's pie and mash in the Bahamas when he wins this. We must thank our Dave Hart who collates the results. Did you figure out why you might do this under an umbrella from George, Dave?
Got no idea where that came from, Bethany. It's a mystery. yeah. I think he's been on the alcohol or something. Had a couple of beers too many, but yeah, I know. I've known George a long time, and so I wasn't really surprised by the remark, but they are a bit left field.
Well, that as always is hilarious with the added handicap of not being able to make the exact prediction as each other. But for now, we have Phil Coleman's tales from the renamed Brute Room.
Hi everyone, Phil Coleman here for a few more tales from my boot room. Or as some said after the last episode on tackles and some of the challenges I made and others in my career, the Brute Room. Anyway, I'm going to take you back to a story of when I left the club. I'd signed pro in the season of 1979, won the FA Youth Cup, and I played quite a few games in the 79 to 80 season. I had a decent contract, but it was for only 1 year. And in every opportunity I got on the training ground or playing in the first team or even as a substitute, I gave it absolutely everything. Training, you gave it everything. You got a chance of getting in the first team, and that was my mentality. Anyway, I played a few games. I played right back, centre back. I played left back. I played left wing. I played on the right wing. I went on as a substitute up front once. And it didn't matter. George Petty was more than comfortable with playing me in those positions. He knew I could do a job. But after a couple of games, I got left out. I went and spoke to George. Excuse me, manager, why are you leaving me out? And he said, trust me. I was left out of the team for that night, feeling a bit hard done by. But a couple of days later, he called me into the office and he said, here's a 4-year contract. I was delighted because a 4-year contract with the club that I supported from a youngster made my debut. Fantastic. I now had some sort of guarantee. The manager fancied me, ensured that I was there for a while. But unfortunately, the results weren't going great. Often there was 8 youth team players in the team. I was learning from Big Kitch, Mel Blythe, John Jackson, Nicky Chatterton, John Mitchell. But often there were 8 of the youth team in the first team. And the results didn't go our way. And obviously George Petty was sacked. He left and we appointed Peter Anderson. Biggest mistake probably in my career. I can look back now and say that that bloke ruined me as a Millwall player and took away more opportunities than probably created. I played a few games for him on the spin. I remember playing the last one was against Colchester United. I was marking Kevin Bremner. We had a fantastic tussle. He gave it, I handed it back, and we beat him 3-1. And then in the middle of the week, that week, Colchester United came in for me. Peter Anderson told me, you got to go up to Colchester and speak to them. I didn't want to, but I drove up anyway, spoke to them and turned it down. I took one look at the ground and I turned it down. I went back to Peter Anderson and his exact words were, you need to sign for them because I've got 5 centre-backs and if you don't sign, you'll see out your time in the reserves. We didn't have a game that week. I thought about it. It was a FA Cup and we were out of the FA Cup. I spoke to Colchester United again. They offered me better terms. It was a far better deal. And when the manager tells you that basically he doesn't want you, I signed for Colchester United. After 1 week, I realised I made a massive mistake. I hated it. I didn't want to be up there. I wanted to be at my club. I wanted to be at Millwall. And I asked for a return, but I got nowhere. And obviously, as a young 20, 21-year-old, didn't have an agent. Nobody represented me. Didn't realise that once you leave, once you sign that contract, you're gone. So I had no chance of coming back to Millwall. And sadly, and I really do think this was a poor one, Peter Anderson went on to sign Sam Allardyce. And I guarantee you that was for far more money than I was ever on. But that's another story. But yeah, I took my chance at Colchester. I got used to it. I'm still living up here. And I gave Colchester 3 years of my life. But that could have been those years with Millwall. It wasn't just being sold and leaving my boyhood club and all my friends and all those youth team players. I lost out in other ways. I ended up playing left back at Colchester United. I got injured after a couple of games up there. But one thing that still wrangles with me, just before he took over, Johnny Giles had been in touch with the club to see if I was eligible for the Republic of Ireland under-21s, which I was because of my grandparents on my dad's side. And obviously leaving, going to Colchester, playing left back, being injured, that opportunity died with me leaving the club. So yeah, that wrangles with me as well. Not a great way to leave the club. Do I dislike Peter Anderson? Immensely. I had a 4-year deal. I was playing well and he ruined my dreams. But life went on. As I say, I moved to Colchester and then after that I came back to the Den in 86 to 88 to play beside my brother in that fantastic team. So all's well that ends well. More stories next time. Bye for now.
We will take a break there and hear about the Lions Food Hub from Harvey Brown.
Hi, Harvey Brown here. I am proud of the Lions Food Hub, which is jointly owned by Kelly and Ellen Webster, and they have been supporting families within our community for over 2 years on Millwall match days. If you would like to donate to them, they have a match day donation hub at the SE16 bar at Coldblow Lane, end of the ground, where they accept any food or money and toiletry donations. If you can help, any donations will be received with thanks.
I'm your host Bethany Manktelow, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Dave Hart, Ted Robinson and Stan Godwin. The Food Hub still needs donations to meet the needs of the community. Please bring donations to the Lions Centre in Ballina Road, just along from the club shop if you can. Our second guest is a long-standing Millwall fan who can be found in the Coldblow Lane end these days. Stan and Dave are memorable Coldblow Lanians and they might even know him. He is also a familiar name to a friend of the show, Dean Wilson. He's a former firefighter in London from Wickford in Essex. Let's welcome Chris Hayward.
Hello,
Oh,
how
hi,
are you?
Chris.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris.
Guys and girls.
Chris, it's great to have you on the show. The club appears to have a good number of firefighters and retired ones amongst its fan base, but tell us, was it your destiny or an option that made you come to follow Millwall?
My granddad who was born in 1885, he actually played for them. Born in Deptford, but he played for them when they was on the Isle of Dog. So that would have been about 1905. They were an amateur side then. They played at a place called Millwall Park. So I would say it's my destiny.
Hello, Chris. It's Dave here.
Hello, mate.
Good to talk to you.
And you, Dave.
What's your earliest memory of the Den, and who were your favourite players then?
The earliest is probably about 1963. We were playing at home to Hull City, and at the time I think it was either us or them going to go top. We were 2-0 up at half time, and we managed to lose 3-2. And ever since then I've been going on a regular basis just to hope to see us beat Hull City. And I went recently and we still didn't beat them. So there you go.
Yeah, I know that feels.
Chris, it's Stan here, mate. What is your most memorable game over the years?
Quite a recent one in real terms, 31 years ago. Millwall 3, Crystal Palace 0 on January the 1st, 1994. We give them a good thumping. Etienne Verviers scored with an overhead kick, which was really very, very nice finish to the match for me. Brilliant game. Lots of atmosphere against. I think I've got a few other matches, but that's the one that springs to mind, purely and simply because a lot of the people listening may well remember it themselves. Whereas you go back to when I first went there. I mean, half these people that might be listening might not have been born 1963. Quite a few years ago now. Isn't it?
Yeah, that was the first year I went, because that's when my granddad took me.
Hello, Chris. It's Ted here.
Hello, mate. How you going?
Hello. All right, mate. All right, not bad. You'll be pleased to know all the panel here. We all remember the 60s very well. But, bless you. Sorry, Bethany, I forgot you're a little bit...
1995 I was born, thank you.
yeah, but
so the year after we beat Crystal Palace 3-0 in 1994. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Mate, you're making me feel old now, Bethany. That's probably all of us, Ted, Dave, and Stan as well.
Yeah. Well, I've got to tell you, Chris, I could sit here listening to people talk about us beating Palace all night long, because there's nothing better than that. There's been some. We have had some good times against Palace, I must admit.
Yeah. Well, if you remember rightly, go back about 20 years or so, in a pre-season friendly, we managed to get their manager sacked because we beat them 6-0, and they sacked him after that pre-season friendly. Stevie Coppell.
He went on to be an advisor at the Millwall, funny enough.
Yes,
Steve Coppell.
yeah, that was the irony. I remember that.
Actually, enough. Yeah. Let's bring ourselves up to this season, Chris.
Yep.
I think this season already has been in two halves. If you take the Neil Harris half and then obviously Alex Neil now, but what do you think of it so far, Chris? Harris and then obviously Alex Neil. What's going on now? Which doesn't seem like the club I know. All these signings we've been making.
No, it's frightening. It feels like Bradford from about 20 years ago when they went on a spending spree to stay in the Premiership. And go back to Neil rejoining us last year. I love Neil Harris. I think he's fantastic. I've got to say nice things about him because he only lives 8 miles down the road. So if he gets a bad report from me, he'll be banging on my door, no doubt. But anyway,
he listens to this, Chris, as well. So be careful.
All right. No, I am careful. I'm more than happy. Neil was an excellent manager, and he came in twice to help us out when we needed him. And he did the job that was asked of him at the time. And the only thing I would say, I'm surprised the way that the transfers have unfolded in the start of the year through the summer signing season. And then we get through to a point where obviously Neil had an issue with the way the club hierarchy was managing transfers, or that might not be the case, but I think it was. I also think in terms of Neil going, I think he realised that he was starting to get a bit of stick, and the one person that all the fans don't need to give stick to is Neil Harris. He's an excellent manager, and he will manage a game at this level. He really will, purely and simply because he's got that about him. He's quite an intelligent and articulate person, and I think he can talk himself into most jobs, and I think he will do in the future, and he deserves a chance. I mean, he had a go at Cardiff, didn't he, shortly after he left us.
Done well there.
He did. He got me into the playoffs first season, didn't he? And it's what he tends to generate is an esprit de corps amongst the squad and everything else. But going back to your original question, I think the fact that we've now, since Alex Neil's turned up, we've gone nuclear, haven't we, in terms of what we've done in the transfer market. It seems as if suddenly we've all of a sudden woken up to the prospect of signing decent players, albeit unknown players to the majority of our fans. I mean, we signed 8, including a returnee from Rangers. A surprise to me as well. 8 signings coming in. He's going to have everyone wearing name tags at the training ground, so they all get to know each other's names. But it's nice because if you remember 4 or 5 matches, 6 matches ago, we were short of boots on the ground because we had no one that was going to be capable of getting on the field and scoring goals that wasn't broken. Now we've got probably 4 or 5 players that are going to hopefully set us on fire. I think we've got a very good chance of going up a long way rather than hovering where we are and going down. So I'm very pleased with the situation as it is. I'm sorry that Neil went, but I think really we've got to give Alex Neil a chance because he does strike me as being he's been into six clubs in the last 10 years or so, and if you read it, he's done well at most of them. So I think the fact that he's been picked probably gives him at least a few months with the fans and a few months with the directors, and they've chucked a load of money and a load of players at him, and I'm hoping that he's picked some of the players that they bought and not Steve Gallen, and I hope they all come good for him, because if they do, we're in for an exciting end to the season, boys, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see signing Negley, who's they paid quite a bit of money for.
Apparently 4.5 million.
Yeah, is it 4.5? Yeah, I think that's what they decided. So. Yeah, and it excites me. You feel that someone of that sort of worth, should we say, they don't always work out, we know, but hopefully there's got something about him. And I'm with you, Chris. It's exciting times. Let's hope it keeps going where it has done for the last couple of games.
Interest. What fire station or stations did you work at?
In alphabetical or
however?
Where I started off at Paddington, I went to Millwall, funnily enough. It's on the Isle of Dogs. Then I went from there to Soho, and I drifted around after that, and I went into a specialist role in fire safety. So predominantly Soho, Paddington and Millwall.
Nice.
When I was at Soho, there was 3 of us on the watch that were Millwall supporters. So we was all enjoying each other's company and cheesing the blokes off when we went on nights, because if we won, we give them all a load of stick, as you can imagine.
Absolutely, I can. So before you leave us, we have Ted's Prediction League. So Ted will ask you to predict 3 scores in the FA Cup. These results will be collated at the end of the season, and we will know who of our guests, hosts, panel, regular reporters will have the best scores. So I will hand you over to Ted.
Yeah, 3 I picked, Chris, are interesting ones. Of course, I've had to go for our beloved Lions away to Leeds. What do you reckon on that one, mate?
Yeah, I've got a score prediction of Leeds 1, Millwall 11. I miswrote. Sorry. I've got us down as a 1.
I'll take it, though.
I don't think. I know. I think we will as well. I originally had us down.
Fine. You can have that in 90 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it could be 11-1 on penalties, couldn't it?
I'll tell you what, Chris. If Millwall win 11-1, I'll buy you a prize myself. All right. I've recorded that now. But
you won't need to. I would have won the lottery at the same time.
So what, you're going 1-1? Is that what you're...
I'm going 1-1 against Leeds, and I don't know about after penalties. But
that's all right. 1-1. We stick with that.
We're lucky that we've got out of the 8 eligible eight players, only one's eligible to play against Leeds, and that's Cundle.
Oh right.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the others didn't sign in time.
Oh, that's be interesting. I know we ain't got Kramer and Connolly, but we'll see. We'll see. The other game, one of the other games is Birmingham versus Newcastle. How do you see that one going, Chris?
Score prediction: Birmingham 1, Newcastle 3. The Geordies are absolutely on fire at the moment.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it'd be a big game for Birmingham. It's the FA Cup, and Newcastle just got into their cup final. But we'll see. I know what you mean. I'll go with that myself. And last but not least, Blackburn versus Wolves.
Right, I've got Wolves 3, Blackburn 0, because I think Blackburn they've lost 3 out of the last 4 matches, and I think Wolves have got to start proving themselves because they've got a lot of multi-million-pound players that are probably not even making the first team at the moment. So I think they'll play a few on the fringe, and I think they'll show Blackburn up 3-0.
Yeah, not a bad shout, but they've won the last game. Thanks for that, Chris. You could be lucky, and it might be a prize. You never know.
Yeah. Well, if I win the lottery, that'll be a prize as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get it on Leeds 1, Millwall 11, though.
I'm going to put £1 on that, just because you said.
If you're going to put £1 on it, put £1 on Leeds 1, Millwall 3. How's that?
Yeah, that's a shout.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, Chris. We look forward to talking with you again, and all the best to you and yours. Bye for now.
Thank you, Bethany. Bye, guys. See you later.
You're welcome.
Cheers, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
We will take a break there and listen to me explain how you can support the Millwall Community Trust.
The Millwall Community Trust is something that I, Bethany Manktelow, admire for all that it does. The Trust was established in 1985 to provide sporting, educational, social and healthy lifestyle opportunities to the local community in Southwark, Lewisham, North Kent and the wider community. Its work is targeted at people of all ages, irrespective of race, gender or sexual orientation, and runs programmes aimed at tackling social exclusion, racism, knife crime, lack of employment opportunities for young people, mental health and disability. The Trust aims to be a progressive and campaigning charity that makes a difference to ordinary people's lives. Its work is undeniably essential to the local community. Donating to the Millwall Community Trust is easy. Visit their website and click on the Get Involved section. There are also sponsorship opportunities. To support this work, email commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll say that again. That's commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. If you can, please help them to continue their vital work.
I'm your host, Bethany Manktelow, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Ted Robinson and Stan Godwin. If you can donate, you will help our Millwall Community Trust deliver all their programmes across all age groups of our community. We're all looking forward to the next game, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans and those interested in football.
Miles Thornton will host the next Friday show with a panel of George Lampy, Debbie Julians and myself.
Millwall Community Trust is hosting an evening with Lions number ones to raise crucial funds for the MCT. It takes place on Thursday the 27th of February in the then refurbished Harry's Bar. Hear from a quartet of Millwall icons, Nicky Johns, Brian Horn, Brian King and Andy Marshall. In addition to listening to untold stories, attendees will meet and greet the former Lions in a casual and friendly environment. The tickets are on sale now, priced at just £10 for all ages. The entry fee includes a meal of sausage, mashed potato, onion gravy. A vegan option is available and pay bar facilities will be available. All profits from the evening will go towards supporting the Millwall Community Trust. The evening starts at 7 p.m. and runs until 9:30, With limited spaces available, secure your seat before it's too late. To buy tickets, go to eticketing.co.uk/Millwall FC /events. So just to repeat it, eticketing.co.uk/Millwall FC /events. Contact the Millwall ticket office on 020 7231 9999. I'll just repeat that. It is the Millwall ticket office on 020 7231 9999.
Millwall Lionesses will face Welling United women in a friendly at Baldham Sports Ground, Sidcup Road, Elton Palace Road, SE9 5LU. The kick-off is 2 p.m. this Sunday. The Lionesses want to keep up their tempo before returning to the League and League Cup action. Why not go along and roar them on?
Don't forget you will be able to listen to the No One Likes Us talking team bring reports from our games, both home and away, for the Lions, Lionesses, Romans and Pride, and also updates on Millwall community matters on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM or from their website. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram and all popular podcast sites. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Bethany.
And thank you, Dave.
Yes, thanks, Bethany.
And thank you, Stan.
And thank you, Bethany. And thank you all for listening.
Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.